Kurt Muse was an American who lived in Panama since he was 5 years old. He married his high school sweetheart, queen of the prom at a Panamanian high school. After completing a short tour of duty in the Army, he settled down in Panama, working in the family business, selling graphics equipment. It was a comfortable life. The violence of General Noriega's regime began to affect Muse. In 1988, one of his close friends was arrested and murdered. Then, after his business printed flyers for demonstrators, PDF troops set fire to his shop.
I had a couple of choices. Fight or flight. You either shut your mouth and just don't do anything, or get out of the country. Well, I decided to stay, and I decided to somehow fight this institution, this man.
Muse and several Panamanian friends banded together to form what eventually became known as the Voice of Liberty. The identities of the members are obscured for their protection. Simple radio components were their weapons. Starting out with scanners, Muse and his friends listened in on police communications. They issued fake orders to confuse the PDF. They would also appeal to the conscience of soldiers, asking them to stop beating on fellow citizens. By mid-1988, they decided to go one step further and make radio broadcasts. They smuggled in electronic parts from Miami to override the government radio frequencies. For their initial broadcast, Muse and his group chose the occasion of a Noriega speech to the nation. Muse recorded the broadcast to audio tape and set up their transmitter.
And the announcer says, "And now we present to you General Manuel Antonio Noriega." And everybody starts cheering. And then at that very same moment, poof, we hit the transmit button.
Atención, atención, pueblo panameño, atención.
As a stunned audience listened, Noriega was interrupted by a 2-minute broadcast encouraging the people of Panama to vote against him in the upcoming elections.
It was the most scary 2 minutes of my life.
General Noriega was completely blindsided. Muse knew that he and the Voice of Liberty were now enemies of the state and that they would be hunted down.
Transmitting the Voice of Liberty.
Muse and his group set up their transmitters in various apartments in the city and began broadcasting anti-Noriega messages.
The whole opposition movement had been beaten and driven into the ground so badly that we were the only voice of opposition in the entire country.
The PDF began using radio direction finding equipment to track these transmitters and catch those responsible. The Voice of Liberty played a dangerous cat-and-mouse game as they moved the transmitters around, trying to stay ahead of the PDF. In early 1989, PDF troops stormed this building and burst into apartment 10C. Muse and his friends could hear the Panamanian officers talking over the radio.
We heard the whole conversation between the major and the colonel. He went in the apartment and said, "The transmitter's not there." And the colonel was furious. He said, "The transmitter is there, I know it." All of our direction lines said, "It is there, that is the apartment." Search under the bed, search in the stove, search everywhere. There's no transmitter. By some fluke of nature, their direction finding thing got upset by about 10 yards. We were in fact in apartment 10C, but in the other twin tower.
On the 5th of April, 1989, the game was over. Someone had tipped off the PDF about Muse while he was in Miami on another trip. He was going through customs at the airport when he saw himself on a wanted poster.
It says, "Kurt Muse, American citizen. Arrest him."
Within minutes, he was surrounded by police and taken away.
The clock stopped, the world stopped. It was like a silent scream. What do you do?